Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We shall chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 54 to 60.
Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthita dhim kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Shri Bhagavan uvacha prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha stita prajnastadochyate dukkeshvanudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruhaha वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यस्सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभं नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
So this portion in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, from verse 54 till 72, paints the picture of a perfect human being. In shloka number 54, Arjuna asks a question to Sri Krishna. He is asking Sri Krishna, please describe a perfect human being. And then from 55th shloka till 72nd shloka, that's the end of this chapter, in 18 shlokas, he paints the picture of a perfect human being. Now, in fact, in shloka number 55, 56, 57, 58, the painting of a perfect human being is over. Then he explains how to achieve that perfection. There's no point just talking about the qualities of a perfect human being. You understand? The lakshanas of a perfect human being, though Arjuna is asking for that only. After painting the picture, Sri Krishna also tells us how we can get there. Getting to the perfection means attaining our fullest potential. I explained to you yesterday, if you remember. As a human being, we can function like a mineral, we can function like a vegetable, we can function like an animal, we can function like a human being, and we can even function like God. Achieve the fullest potential, become self-realized, God-realized. That's the ultimate goal. Meaning, when we become self-realized or God-realized, what happens is we become absolutely liberated, totally free. Nothing binds us thereafter. You understand? And that's exactly what all of us are searching for. So, it talks about a person who's already reached that perfection, and it also talks about how to get to that perfection. How to reach that perfection, what one has to do to get to that perfection. And he also talks about certain sadhanas and the importance of developing the intellect. By developing the intellect, how we can be both peaceful and prosperous. If you search for people in the world who has both peace and prosperity, you will very rarely find such a person. You will see some people are having tremendous prosperity, but by their own admission, they lack peace of mind. You find another set of people who have a lot of peace, but they do not have that much prosperity. But we have to bring both together. How to bring both peace and prosperity together? And that is only possible by building the intellect. So he emphasizes on the importance of intellect also. Then again in the end, the last 4 shlokas, he starts talking about the sthita prajna, the perfect human being. Nyaha means one who knows. I explained this yesterday, but for few people who have come for the first time today, I'm just repeating it. Nyaha means one who knows. Prajnaha means one who knows well. Sthita prajnaha means one who knows well steadily, which means what? One who is established in wisdom. One whose wisdom is established. One who has steady wisdom. Whatever may be the situation, his wisdom remains the same. Such a person is called sthita prajnaha. Right? So that's what we are discussing now. Who is a sthita prajna? What are his lakshanas, the descriptions, qualities, and how to get there? And what kind of benefits we get by reaching that goal. See, end of the day, when we try for something, we should know what is the benefit we will get finally. Isn't it? So what is the benefit we get by reaching that destination? And that also he talks about. Now, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. And each chapter has different number of shlokas. Right? Now, this particular chapter has 72 shlokas. Now, we have to get the entire Bhagavad Gita thought flow. We have to capture the thought flow of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Now, how to do that? What people like our Guru Swamiji have done is, they have split every chapters into different topics. So, by going through those verses in those topics, we get the gist of it, and then we connect with the next topic, connect with the next topic. Like that we get the entire picture, the whole picture of the Gita. You understand? That is not part of the original Gita. In fact, if you actually look at it, the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is what is given as Bhagavad Gita. Now, when they discussed, did Sri Krishna say, okay, now first chapter is over, now let's start second chapter. Now second chapter is over, let's start third chapter. Were they discussing like that? Obviously not. You understand? It was a conversation. Sage Vyasa, who brought the Gita in this format that we have, he already did this work by giving it into different chapters. Isn't it? That further required more research and segregation into different topics. That is what people like our Guruji, Swami Parthasarathi has done that. You understand? That is going to help us furthermore. So this chapter has 72 shlokas, and the first topic is from verse 1 to 10, which is Arjuna's despondent condition. He was in despondent condition in the first chapter, and his condition continues. His state of distress continues till the first 10 shlokas. Luckily, in the seventh shloka of this chapter, he understands that he needs help. And he surrenders to Sri Krishna. Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha prichamitvam dharma sammuda chetaha yashreyasya nishitam bruhitanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. I am thy disciple. I am confused about what is right for me, what is correct for me in the context. Please tell me what is good for me. I surrender to you. I am thy disciple. Therefore you have to speak. And when Arjuna surrendered in the 7th shloka, and he continues explaining his state further and then keeps quiet, from 11th verse of this chapter, actual Gita begins. Real Gita, which is what Sri Krishna giving, right? That begins from 11th verse of this chapter. From 11th verse till 53rd verse, we did in the last year lecture. So 11 to 30 is the next topic, which talks about the indestructibility of the embodied. Yesterday I was explaining this. Every human being is a combination of body, mind, intellect, enlivened by Atma. Atma is embodied as it were. Whenever you talk about Atma with reference to embodiment, you have to use this context. Atma is embodied as it were. Strictly speaking, it is not possible to embody the Atma. You cannot bind the Atma. Atma is free. You understand? Can you really bind wind? It's not possible. So like that, you cannot bind Atma, which is subtle. But it appears to be bound to this body. It appears to be bound to this mind. It appears to be bound to this intellect. Right? And this body, mind, intellect are all what? Perishable. They have a beginning, they have an end. But Atma, which reflects through this body, mind, intellect, is beyond birth, beyond death. And that he talks about from verse 11 to 30. He explains the indestructibility of Atma. Indestructibility of Atma means indestructibility of myself. Indestructibility is my real nature. I am not the one who is born. I am not the one who is dying. Body is being born, body is dying. When the body is born, I am not born. When the body dies, I am not dying. You understand? In the ashram where I come from, we have a tradition. On somebody's birthday, we don't chant that happy birthday to you. We don't chant that. What we do is, we chant a shloka from Atma Bodha. Nirguno nishkriyo nityo nirvikalpo niranjanaha nirvikaro nirakaro nityamuktosmi nirmalaha. This is your resume. This is your biodata. But you have forgotten that biodata. So now in your biodata you are writing your name, your qualification, your experience, etc., etc., etc. Isn't it? But your real biodata is what? Nirguno nishkriyo nityo nirvikalpo niranjanaha. Niranjanaha means I am free of all dirt. This is me. You understand? And that knowledge he gives from verse 11 to 30. And then after understanding this knowledge, you must do your duty. That's the next topic from verse 31 to 40. But a lot of us, when we do action, we do desire-propelled action, which is not the right way to function. And that he talks about from verse 41 to 44. Desire-ridden actions, quoting Vedas, the beginning portion of the Vedas, which sanctions functioning based on desires. And that he talks about from verse 41 to 44. Why you should not function desire-propelled. And how you should function from 45 to 53. The fifth topic, desireless actions lead to self-realization, leads to enlightenment, leads to perfection. So you have to do karma yoga, purify yourself through karma yoga. Karma yoga is what? Dedicating your actions for a higher goal. With arpana bhava and prasada bhava. With the dedication, you do the action for the higher, and whatever comes through that, you accept as a result, as a prasad. That is called prasada buddhi. You understand? It's called karma yoga. And when you keep doing like that, you get purified. Your mind gets purified. And in the purified mind, when you take in the knowledge slowly starts getting established. You understand? You start becoming little wise. If you are disturbed and distracted, the knowledge will not go. That's why what we do is 6 to 6:30 bhajans. And we tell people also, please try to come early. Settle down. So that you listen to bhajan, tune in. Then when the lecture starts, you can grasp it. You understand? So through karma yoga, you become purified. And through jnanam, you gain knowledge. And there is still a lot more things to do. Which is what? Convert the knowledge to wisdom. Through nididhyasana, through meditation, and then realize. And when you realize, you become a perfect human being who is absolutely free. This is what he said from 45 to 53. Then in the 54th shloka, which we started yesterday, Arjuna is asking. From 54 to 72 is the description of an enlightened soul. Sthita prajnaha, enlightened person. So the 54th shloka, what did he ask Arjuna? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. So basically he is asking about Sthita Prajna and he is asking 4 questions. First is, please give me the general description of a perfect human being. First question. Second question is, how does he speak? Third is, how does he sit? Fourth is, how does he walk? Right? Kim prabhasheta, kim asita, kim vrajeta. Means, how does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? What does this mean? How does he speak? Doesn't mean in which language will he speak. How does he sit? Doesn't mean will he sit in Vajrasan or cross-legged position. He's not talking that. How does he walk? What he's asking is, how does the infinite express through the finite? When he says, how does he speak? Right? And then, what is his inner state of mind when he says, how does he sit? And when he says, how does he walk? When he contacts the world. When he goes and contacts the world, how does he react? What is the influence of the world upon him? What is his influence upon the world? All this he is asking. Do you understand? So these are the questions. And we saw these are the questions Arjuna asked. And Sri Krishna answers to these questions from 55, 56, 57, 58 in these 4 shlokas. So let's take up shloka number 55.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha stitah prajnastadochyate.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the blessed Lord said. Shri Krishna spoke to Arjuna, giving reply to his question. So he is saying, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha stita prajnas tadochyate. So what he is saying, the blessed Lord said to Arjuna, when one completely casts off, O Partha, Partha refers to Arjuna, O Partha, Arjuna, when one completely casts off all desires of the mind, and is satisfied in the self, by the self, then is one said to be of steady wisdom. So the very first shloka, when he talks about a perfect human being, he is saying a perfect human being is one who is devoid of desires, who is free from all the desires, who is free from all the wants. Who is free from all the wants, who is free from all the desires means we think from the negative angle. Oh, a fellow will not have any desire. What kind of a person is he? I don't like to be a perfect human being. So he says, no. When he says he is free from all the wants and desires, why? Not because he is depressed. Not because he is disinterested in the world. He is paripurna. He is full. So he puts the positive condition immediately. He says, and is satisfied in the self, by the self. You understand? He is satisfied in the self, by the self. Only then a person is said to be of steady wisdom. See, what the scriptures are telling is, you are already complete and paripurna. You are already infinite. You do not know that you are infinite. You, out of ignorance of your true nature, you are imagining yourself to be this limited ego self. And when you imagine yourself to be this limited ego self, then from you to feel complete, a set of thoughts go towards the world, and the thoughts going from you to the world is called desire. And by getting the desired object, you feel temporarily fulfilled or satisfied. You understand? So this is what we do with our desires. So what is desire? Desire is an outcome of the sense of limitation, which is imaginary, that comes due to my ignorance of my true nature. And all my life I am running after the object of my desire to feel fulfilled. Right? Now if I gain the knowledge that I am Paripurna and I know that I am Paripurna. I am infinite. All the happiness that I am searching for is my true nature. When I know that, will I have any desire? I will not have desire, but I will be filled with something very positive. What is that? When I am full, what will I have as an offshoot of it? Love. You understand? The positive thing compared to desire, which is negative, is love. When we do an action today, it is all propelled by desire. It's not propelled by love. Why? Because we are incomplete. When I am feeling that I am incomplete, how will I have love? How can I have love? You understand? So, therefore, when he says, this person is free of all desires, what it means is, he is full of love, compassion, identification with the world. It's a positive thing. It's not a negative thing. Unfortunately, people don't understand it correctly. Therefore, they think, Acha, a self-realized soul, a perfect person will not have any desire. I don't like to be like that. So what he's saying is, he's talking about growth. Of course, he's talking about renunciation. When you renounce, you have renounced all the desires from the mind. It is easy to renounce the object of the desires without renouncing that desire. Isn't it? You may renounce the object of the desire. Like sometimes what happens, you give away your clothes or your other furniture, etc. And then when somebody asks, whose is that furniture? You will say, it is theirs, but I gave it to them. It is theirs, but I gave it to them. Which means what? You still have the ownership. You still have the desire. You only gave up the object. So Sri Krishna is saying, it is not that kind of renunciation. It is renunciation of the object along with the desires from the mind. What does it mean? It means he has understood the value of the object. The object, he knows what it is worth. Right? But it is something that belongs to the temporary category. Therefore, it doesn't have intrinsic value, it has only transactional value. For example, for all of you to come to this lecture today, you came through some mode of transportation, isn't it? Either bicycle or motorcycle or a car or bus or whatever. You need a mode of transportation. So the car that brought you to this lecture is what? Just some transport that took you from your house to this place, isn't it? So you understand that it is required for transactional purpose, that's all. Beyond that, it has no value. Are you with me? So you are not thinking that if I have the car, if I have a 5-bedroom house, only then my life will be fulfilled. Are you with me? That dependence goes, you become absolutely free. So renunciation means what? Growth. It is not giving up. It is taking up something higher. When you understand the higher values of life, the lower automatically falls away. When a child who is playing with toys is exposed to cycle world, and the child is learning to cycle, and then slowly when the child starts balancing well and rides the bicycle well, then the child forgets about the toy. All the toys the child forgets, isn't it? So what do you say? You don't say that the child gave up the toys. Toys gave up the child. The child has grown up now. Are you with me? So renunciation is not giving up. Renunciation is taking up. Renunciation is growing up. So a Mahatma, a self-realized soul, is one who has grown to his inner nature, his inner self, who is identified with the Atma completely, as a result of which all his dependence upon the world has gone. He has zero dependence. That's what it means. He's become absolutely independent. That is the real nature of a Mahatma. Continue.
Dukkeshvanudvignamanaha Sukeshu vigataspruhaha Vitaragabhayakrodaha Sthitadhirmuniruchyate.
Now, if a person who's become absolutely independent, we have another confusion. We confuse a person with independence to a person who is indifferent. Right? So we have this question. Such a person who is absolutely independent of the world. Right? Independent meaning mentally. See, you were dependent of the vehicle to come to this car. But that was only physical. But having come and you are sitting in this class, I hope you are engrossed in the lecture and you are not attached and thinking about your car. You understand? Has someone come and park their car very close to my car? Or have they put some scratch on my car? Those thoughts are not there. So you are free of those thoughts because you are completely identified in the talk here. You understand? That's called mental independence. For transport purpose, transactional purpose, I came in the car. So physically I am independent, physically I am dependent, but mentally I am independent. So when a person becomes mentally independent, will he have emotions? Will he or she have emotions? Or will they be devoid of emotions? So because you think, oh, such perfect people will not be normal. You understand? In fact, they are absolutely normal. We are abnormal. That is what he wants to say. So that question he answers here. Will they be indifferent? Or what does real independence mean with reference to emotions? He says, Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha. Sukeshu vigatasprihaha. Vita raga bhaya krodha. Sthitadi muni ruchyate. He whose mind is not agitated by sorrow, nor excited by joy, who is free from desire, fear and anger, he is called a sage of steady wisdom. That's the translation of this shloka. So what he's saying, the person who's reached that perfection, when that person expresses himself in the world, his inner state he will also go through various emotions. So this verse is answering what question? How does he sit? How does he sit? Meaning, what is his inner state? Will he have emotions? Will he be emotional or will he have emotional intelligence? Will he be controlling and directing his emotions? Firstly, will he have emotions? Will he be controlling and directing his emotions? Or will he be completely devoid of emotions? Or he may have emotions and he will be emotional. What would be his inner state? That he is answering now. He says, he will be having emotions. He will also go through dukkha and sukha like you and me. Supposing you get an idea, Arey yaar, sthita prajna, I want to test out. Will they have dukkha and sukha? So what do? Whoever is giving lecture, in this context today I am giving lecture. You may come quietly with a pin and then come and poke. And then if I say, then you'll say, this fellow is not sthita prajna. You understand? So obviously what he is saying is, they have feelings. It's not that they are devoid of feelings. Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha. The difference is, we also go through dukkha and sukha. They also go through dukkha and sukha. Lord Rama, it was announced that he is going to be the king from tomorrow. He is going to be coronated tomorrow morning, next day morning. And previous night is called and told, you have to go to jungle forest and be there for 14 years. You understand? And very happily he takes his bag, whatever little bag he took, he went, and it is said that he slept that night very well. Dukkha comes to even avatars. Sukha comes to avatars also. The moment you come into this world means what? Dvandvas. In Sanskrit, the word for world is dvandvas. Dvandvas means pairs of opposites. You understand? Sukham, dukkham will be there for them also. They will also have emotions. But the difference between you and them is, me and them is what? They are balanced in both sukha and dukkha. Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, sukeshu vigatasprihaha. When sukha comes, they don't get excited. They are balanced. See, there's a beautiful poem by William Wordsworth. It's called Ladomia. It's a long poem. And in that poem, William Wordsworth is talking about wife's infatuation to husband. Right? How the attachment destroys. That's what he talks about. In that, the husband has died and gone to heaven, and she is attached to the husband, and she is praying to God, please bring back my husband, I can't live without him, I miss him. This is how she's talking in my language. Okay, not in Wordsworth's language. So then, God says, okay, I will restore him for some time, but as ghost, temporarily for a few hours. So he's coming, her husband is coming, and then he's talking about heaven there. When he's coming down to the earth, he's talking about heaven to her. He says, calm pleasures there abides and majestic pain. What does he say? He says, in heaven, there is calmness in pleasure and majestic they are in pain. Which means what? Everywhere this will be there. You understand? Calm pleasures. In pleasure we need to be calm. In pain we need to be majestic. And that shows what? The inner maturity, the balance. He is identified with the self. He is not dependent on the external things. See, the world can only affect your body. The temperature changing outside can affect the body, isn't it? The emotions maximum can affect the mind. The intellectual evaluation of somebody about you can affect the intellect. Why should it affect you? You are different from the body. You are different from the mind. You are different from the intellect. You understand? So if this understanding is there, it doesn't affect you. When you're sitting and going in a car which has beautiful shock absorbers, what is happening? The shocks are taken by the shock absorber. You are happily traveling. No problem. So this knowledge that he is or she is established is functioning as a shock absorber. So he also goes through dukkha and sukha, but he is not affected by dukkha and sukha like you and me. And he is absolutely free from desire and its modification. Vita raga. Raga means attachment, desire. He is free from all attachments, mental attachments. You understand? Mental attachment is not there. See what happens? Today you've come maybe a little early, so you're occupying the front seat. Tomorrow, supposing you come a little late, and whosoever has come early, they would have occupied that seat. Just for the last 2 days you've been sitting in a particular seat. Somebody else has come and sit now. You will say, oh, mera seat hai. Attachment starts. You understand? So he says, that person is absolutely free from attachment. As a result, no fear. With whatever we have dropped the attachment, no fear. If I have attachment to my body, fear. If I have attachment to my mind, fear. In that level. You understand? If I am attached to a particular object, then there is fear. Isn't it? When I attach myself to a goal, a result, then I will be afraid, will I get it, will I get it? And after getting it, will I lose it, will I lose it? Will somebody take it away? If I have no attachment, no fear. You understand? And then when your desire is interrupted by somebody, then you get angry with them. That is anger. What is anger? You have a desire. Swamiji explains this very well. A boy loves a girl and his father is saying, no, you can't marry her. Now there is desire from him to going towards the girl, and his father is coming in between. So the thought current that is going from him to the girl is getting deflected towards the father, and he is angry with his father. So this is all going to happen only when you have desire and attachment. And when a person has completely removed all the desire, attachment and expectation, there is no fear, no anger in such a person. Which means what? He has emotions, but he is not affected by emotions. He is absolutely free from desire and its modification. Such a person is a perfect human being. He is called a sage of steady wisdom. Continue.
Yes sarvatra nabhisnehaha tat tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita.
Now, we have seen that a sthita prajna, perfect human being, is one absolutely independent and not indifferent. He has emotions. Okay, he has emotions, but will he come out into the world and function? Or will he just have emotions and be seated in his house? Will he be useless to the society, to his family, or will he be useful to his society and family? You understand? That's another question we get. Will he be dynamically acting in the world? And that question is answering. So he says, Ya sarvatra anabhisneha tattat prapya shubha shubham na abhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Means what? He who is everywhere without attachment. So that man of perfection moves about in the world, dynamically acting. Everywhere means what? You will see him in the morning sitting and studying. And then you will see him doing yoga, going for a walk. Then you will see him executing his work in the office brilliantly. Then you may see him in the evening going and doing shopping with his family or other things. And then like that, everything, every role of his, you will see him doing perfectly. Ya sarvatra anabhisneha, without attachment. He is dynamically acting in the world, contacting the world, but without any attachment. He goes about without leaving any footprint. You understand? He goes about doing actions out of love. I told you, see, today we need something to motivate us to do the action. And in our level, desire only motivates us to do the action. It's not love. You understand? So, we need a carrot to be dangled in front of us so that we move. If you do this, you will get this incentive. That is nothing but carrot, isn't it? Which is desire propelled action, isn't it? Or you need to be forced, that is stick. But there is another way of working, that's called initiative. When you have gratitude, when you are filled with love, when you are filled with compassion, nobody is forcing you to do anything, but out of love you go and do it. You know, Mahakavi Bharati, who is from Tamil Nadu, who is a great poet and also freedom fighter, he has given out something very beautiful. He says, Yam petra inbam perigai vayagam. You know, whatever joy and happiness I've got, let the world also get it. It is also there in our scriptures, it's mentioned in the scriptures. You understand? So, a person who is full cannot contain himself, isn't it? When India wins the World Cup, you have identified with the whole country. You have not won anything. Your country has won something. So that way you won something. You are happy. What do? You come out, buy sweets and distribute to everybody. You understand? So he comes out and works dynamically, goes about doing everything without any attachment. And then he says, who having met good and evil, neither rejoices nor hates. So when you come out and meet the world, just because you are now going out of Bhagavad Gita class, when we finish, when the class gets over after 1 hour, you get out, right? Then everybody is going to give way in the road. These people are coming from Bhagavad Gita class, so let us give them way. Let them not have any traffic jam for them. Please, all of us move. Is it going to happen like that? Nothing is going to happen like that. Same world you will face. You understand? So you will have Shubha and Ashubha. But na abhinandati na dveshti. You understand? When he meets good and evil, there will be people. Sri Krishna's time, there was Shishupala. Shishupala was constantly abusing Sri Krishna. You understand? So, even Sri Krishna can be abused. How can you and me be an exception? You understand? So those things are not going to stop him. Rewards are not going to encourage him to further act more, or people criticizing is not going to stop him from doing what he's supposed to do. He does it without any attachment, with no excitement, with no hatred. He continues functioning in the world without getting affected. Such a person is called Sthita Prajna, he says. So in this verse, which question is he answering? You've already seen general description, 55. Answer was given. 56, what was the answer? For what question? How does he sit? So what are the two things that is left? How does he walk? How does he speak? How does he walk is being answered here. When he contacts the world, how does the world influence him? Or will he influence the world? He doesn't get influenced by the world. He rather influences the world. Next verse.
यदा संहरते छायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
This is a beautiful shloka. All are beautiful shlokas, and I'll keep saying this also. He gives a beautiful example here of a tortoise. He compares the tortoise to a perfect human being. And he explains a particular concept. He says, Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashaha indriyan indriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. When, like the tortoise, drawing in its limbs on all sides, he withdraws his senses from the sense objects, then his wisdom is said to be established. Then his wisdom is established. So what is he saying in this shloka? He's giving answer to the question, how does he speak? Isn't it? 4 questions. What is the general description of a perfect human being? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? General description was explained in 55. How does he sit was explained in 56. How does he walk? 57. Now in 58th shloka, he is talking about how does he speak? How does the infinite express through the finite? So he says, he compares the perfect human being to a tortoise. So he says, when like a tortoise drawing in its limbs on all sides, he withdraws his senses from the sense objects, then his wisdom is established. So what he's saying is, he goes about contacting the world. We saw that previous shloka, dynamically. But he contacts the world propelled by his buddhi, which is soaked in the awareness of Atma, the self. And this is what he's explaining here. His movement is out of awareness and love. So what he says is, when a tortoise, if you see, tortoise has head, 4 limbs and a tail, and it is a hard shell, isn't it? And the hard shell is always exposed to the sun above. The sun above represents the Atma, the self, your true nature. You understand? Hard shell represents the intellect. The head and 4 legs and tail represent 5 senses and the mind. You understand? So 4 legs, tail and head, all these 6 protrusions together represents what? 5 senses and mind. And the hard shell represents the buddhi, intellect. And the sun above represents the Atma, the supreme self within, your true nature within. Is this clear? So the tortoise goes about moving. When it senses any danger, what does the tortoise do? Quickly withdraws the head, 4 legs and tail, everything inside the hard shell. And whatever they try to harm the tortoise, nothing happens, because the hard shell protects. And the hard shell is exposed to sun above always. Similarly, he says, a Mahatma, self-realized soul, his intellect is constantly exposed to the Atma within. 24/7, 365 days, he knows that I am Atma, and he moves about in the world. And when any danger comes, he quickly withdraws. In the case of Mahatma, it is spontaneous. You understand? Spontaneously he withdraws. These are areas in which we should not be going. He withdraws. That's how he functions. See, to explain this, I give the example. When you go to a country like Dubai, UAE, right? Even if you are born there, they will give you Indian passport issued in Dubai. You cannot become a citizen there. You understand? Now, when you live there, you are always aware that you are Indian, NRI, living in Dubai. You understand? And you understand the laws over there. You abide by those laws, and you enjoy that country. It's a beautiful country, right? And you enjoy the country. You're grateful to them, and you enjoy. But all along inside, you are very clear. I am Indian living in Dubai. You are not writing it on the board every day. I am an Indian living in Dubai. I am an Indian living in Dubai. It is there in you, in your subconscious. So like that, a Mahatma who is expressed in the infinity, expresses in the world, constantly identified with the divinity, and any danger comes, he quickly withdraws. Otherwise, he goes about contacting. So, we have seen answer to all the questions by Sri Krishna. Now, what we need to understand is, whatever are the lakshanas, qualities of a perfect human being, is the sadhana for us to reach there. Do you understand? See, when we were growing up, there used to be something called as fancy dress competition. Now, you won't believe, this actually happened in my life. I was in my second standard and I participated in fancy dress competition. I didn't know this is going to happen. I dressed up myself as a priest in the temple, and I took a photo of Bhagavad, went there, kept it there with all the uddarini and all that, the small vessels there, and I did puja and distributed prasad. I don't know, somewhere these values get instilled in you. You understand? When you do that kind of exercise. So that's why they have fancy dress competition. People dress up like Mahatma Gandhi. People dress up like Shahid Bhagat Singh, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, etc. So those things goes into them. So this picture that is painted of a perfect human being is spontaneous qualities of a Mahatma, but for us they are all sadhana. So in this particular shloka, first of all in 55, what did he say? As a result of him getting established in the self, he is free from the desires. So we have to start focusing on the Atma so that we become self-reliant and our reliance on the world reduces. Are you with me? So we have to constantly put in effort to develop this quality called self-reliance, self-sufficiency. That's the sadhana that we learn in verse 55. And 56, he said, he has emotions, but he is not emotional. So we should also check. Nothing wrong in having emotions, but we should not become emotional. Control and direct our emotions by strengthening our intellect, and we need to do things to do that. That's our sadhana. Then 57, what did he say? You have to contact the world, but without attachment. So how do you do that? I explained to you. Atma is enlivening my body, mind, intellect. And body is functioning, mind is functioning, intellect is functioning. I am not the doer. I should do what has to be done and get out. That should be my sadhana. Now here, he is talking about what is called as Dhamma. Dhamma means sense control. You understand? In the case of a perfect human being, sense control is his or her automatic, spontaneous quality. They are automatically controlled. You understand? In our case, that is not the case. Right? So what do we have to do? We have to practice sense control. And that's what he's talking about. What does sense control means? Sense control does not mean sense withdrawal. Sense control means lending purpose to your contact. You can contact things as long as they are not going to disturb your mind. As long as they are good for you. They are not things that are going to distract you. But the moment you understand that they are things that may distract you, you will have to keep away from them. You know, Hanumanji, somebody had presented a mala to Hanumanji. He put it to his ears. It did not say Ram. He threw it. It is of no use. Even if the mala is made of diamonds, it is of no use to me. Why? Because it's not saying Ram. You understand? So I have a purpose in life, and these are things which are distraction for that purpose. They are not good for me to reach that purpose. So I have to keep myself away from those things. And if there are things which are supportive to achieve my goal, I can continue contacting them with my intellect and awareness. That is called sense control. And he is emphasizing on sense control in this shloka. That we must practice. If we want to find the truth within and attain that perfection, we need to continue following sense control. It's called Dhamma. And there is another practice called Shama, which is mind control. That he'll talk later. Now he's talking about Dhamma, sense control. See, first, how does the world enter into you? Through the senses. Anybody comes into your house through the main door. So you have a gatekeeper there. He says, excuse me, who are you? Whom do you want to meet? What is it regarding? Have you already spoken and taken appointment? And then he says, okay, please wait. And then he'll call inside and they say, okay, send him. Then he'll send. Are we doing that? कुछ भी नहीं करता है ऐसा. जो भी चलता है, it'll keep on going. No sense control. But we want happiness. How is it possible? How is it possible? Anything and everything you send in. How can you have peace? Ultimately, everybody wants peace. How is it possible if you do not have sense control? They say in management terms, GIGO. Do you know what is GIGO in management? Garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage inside, what will come out will be garbage only. So you must practice sense control. Continue.
Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarcham rasopyasya param društva nivartate.
Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param društva nivartate. From this shloka, now he starts emphasizing on how to reach there. He's already described us to the prajna, perfect human being. From now, he's talking about how to get there. So in the previous shloka, he talked about sense control. He's elaborating on it a little more. Right? He says, the sense objects turn away from an abstinent man, but not the relish, the rasa. Even his relish turns away on seeing the Supreme. So what he's trying to say is, see, to explain this, I will bring in an example. See, a tuberculosis patient in today's context can be absolutely cured. Right? They have medicine for it. Depending upon the cases, I think the medication can last for 1 year or so. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not a doctor. So I'm told somewhere 6 months or 1 year, they give prescription, a particular dosage of medicine. Now, if when you start taking it, after 3 months or 4 months consecutively, consistently, you will start feeling better. You'll start feeling better. But you're not supposed to stop. If you stop, you will again get it back. You understand? So they say, please remember, you have to complete the course. You have to complete the course. You can't stop in between. Similarly, till how long this sense control practice has to continue? Till you realize the self is this. Because when you are with determination saying no to the world will stop coming and disturbing you. Vishaya means sense objects. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinha. Ahara means food. Ahara for the eyes is color and form. Ahara for the nose is smell. Ahara for the tongue is taste, food. Like that, ahara for each senses. He is abstaining from that. He is practicing sense control. So the world will stop disturbing him. Right? That doesn't mean he has reached perfection. He says the rasa lingers. The relish is still there. You understand? And when will the relish go? The relish will go upon seeing the Supreme. Only when you get established in it. So you have to continue your sadhana till you get established. You can't say, how long I have to practice, sir? 30 days, 40 days? No. Continue, continue, continue. Till you realize the self. When I realize the self, how will I know that I have realized the self? It's like asking, how will I know when I have woken up that I have woken up? Then I will say, please go and meet another doctor, not me. When you wake up, don't you know that you've woken up? You don't need anybody else to come and tell you that you've woken up, isn't it? So when you realize the self, you know that you've realized the self. Till then you have to continue this practice of sense control. Continue. One more sloka.
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Beautifully he says here, yatataha. Yatata means striving person. One who is sincerely striving. O Kaunteya, O Kunti Putra Arjuna. He adds adjective to the senses. Pramati. Pramatini indriyani. Indriyani means senses. And they are pramati means turbulent, powerful. The senses are very, very powerful. Isn't it? Now we may be sitting here and some music that is going on miles away, coming through the door quietly to you, your ears, it can distract you. It's very, very powerful. So he says, O Kaunteya, the turbulent senses of even a wise man. What is the word for wise person here? Vipaschitaha. Vipaschita means a wise man. O Kaunteya, the turbulent senses of even a wise man, learned man, meaning one who's been attending Gita classes and one who's been conducting Gita classes. Both are included in it. You understand? So even a wise man's senses which is turbulent, O Kaunteya, O Kunti Putra Arjuna, while striving, meaning putting in efforts to gain control over the senses. He is putting in effort sincerely. Indeed, forcibly carry away his mind. This is the power of the senses. What does the sense do? They carry away your mind. And when the mind is gone, what happens? The mind carries away the buddhi. So actually in the next sloka, he should say, the mind that is carried away by the senses will carry away the intellect. But in 6 shlokas, 61 to 66, he talks about the importance of intellect. Why you should strengthen the intellect. Right? And then in 67th shloka, he will continue from where he left in this shloka. In between 6 shlokas, he'll talk about strengthening the intellect. Do you understand? We'll see all that tomorrow. I'll also talk about little more on this shloka tomorrow. And I will talk about the importance of developing the intellect in tomorrow's class. Okay? So let's conclude today. Thank you.